Aloha Kakiaka. Today is the 21st day of October in the year 2012. We had a caller on the line. He has or she has left the line, and so what I will do is move to the next item that I wanted to talk about, and I think we've exhausted. If we haven't, you can still call back on the earlier topics that we have discussed. But I did want to talk about this question of who is a self in terms of self-determination. I'm talking about Hawaiian sovereignty. Now, you have two major branches of what people talk about Hawaiian sovereignty. One, a nation within a nation approach. And I don't consider that to be Hawaiian sovereignty. The very definition of sovereignty is when you have an entity that has no higher legislature to it but God, or if you believe in a God, but certainly not a subsidiary sovereignty in which you are subjected to a higher sovereignty such as the United States government or any other government. A sovereign entity is an entity that has no higher legislature to it. So I am talking about an independent nation when I talk about Hawaiian sovereignty. The next question then becomes, what is or how does Hawaiian sovereignty constitute itself? And previously I had said that the real understanding is the term self-determination. That determination is a choice to be made among certain choices, one being absolute independence, the second being a free association or commonwealth relationship with the United States, the third being integration within the United States as a nation within a nation, or as a indigenous or Indian nation recognized by the federal government. I would set the second and third choice, the integrationist approach and the commonwealth approach, as not being Hawaiian sovereignty, although it falls under the umbrella of choices of determination. So getting back to that issue of sovereignty, I believe that sovereignty is a choice in the exercise of self-determination, and that choice is to become an independent nation or emerge or re-emerge as an independent nation and existing as that independent nation with the full rights of any independent nation to control your foreign policy, your trade policy, your immigration policy, your population policy, whether or not you have nuclear weapons in your territory, how you proceed to engage in economic affairs, your taxation policy, and the rest. I think by that you get the idea. The next question that was asked last week is, who is a self that exercises these choices? And I believe that the first question is, or the higher level of choice, self-determination, that self should be among, first of all, the native Hawaiians. Secondly, among those who can trace their ancestry to Hawaii, and as a result of that tracing can say faithfully and truly that because of the invasion of the Americans, the occupation of the Americans, they have lost their substantial right to citizenship in the nation of Hawaii simply by the taking away, by the destruction, by the removal of the ability to control and participate in your own nation. And so those are the descendants of citizens of the Hawaiian nation. I would go so far as to say those people who, for whatever condition they came to Hawaii, established themselves in Hawaii and wants to become citizens of Hawaii, having spent a minimal time of, let's say, 5 years of their lives in Hawaii continuously, or the last 5 years of their life, and choosing to change their citizenship to a Hawaiian citizenship, which coincidentally, and not coincidentally, which intentionally is the same requirement as the Hawaiian nation had as its requirement, and willing to forego their foreign birthright and take up Hawaiian citizenship, I would say that they should be allowed citizenship provided that they meet other naturalization requirements, so that you can really count on their being truthful about their willingness to switch their allegiance. So that is the self that I suggest should participate in the eventual call for independence of Hawaii. Okay. And then we can talk about the structure of this independent nation and how do you split the powers between the native Hawaiians of Hawaii as opposed to, or as contrasted to, the general population who may not be native Hawaiians but are Hawaiians by their citizenship. That will leave for further discussion. I do have a caller on the line. Our telephone number here is 524-1080. Let's go to that caller. Aloha, caller. Welcome to the program.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I just thought I forgot about this last time. You mentioned that the last televised event, I guess, confrontation between Iran and Nico.
Yeah, I would like for us to stay on the earlier, or on the discussion of Hawaiian sovereignty just for the next 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
But you can go ahead and comment if that's a subject you want to talk about.
Oh, of course, always. AI is so, it's a struggle of our time, huh?
Yeah.
And, for you, many years now, many decades, and you've been able to see the tide starting to turn in some ways. But definitely have to cancel out American participation in political question of future status.
Yeah.
Because, for obvious reasons, if you know the background really well, you can see how having Americans to continue to participate in it, you just continuing, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I structure it that way, that it would be a decision made not by Americans here in Hawaii, but those who commit themselves to being Hawaiians in terms of its citizenship.
Right, but because there might be lots of folks who want to think of themselves as Kama'aina, but really their first loyalty is to,
Yeah, and part of that determination, or the question to be posed by those who choose to participate, is, can you verify that you have been in Hawaii for at least 5 years of your life, or in the last 5 years? And secondly, will you become a citizen of the Hawaiian nation should a decision be made that we will revert to, or we will become an independent nation? Now, if they say no, then I would say that they are not valid participants in that vote. Some people would say, well, aren't you skewing the results before even taking the vote? And I would say that's the only, that's the only choice we have. I would say that's the only choice we have. It has to be skewed in that way, because you cannot allow foreigners to participate in your exercise of self-determination. And this is what happens in, let's say, when the French have invaded either Kanaki or New Caledonia, or the French have invaded Society Islands or Tahiti, and where that decision needs to be made. You cannot allow the transmigration of foreign voters into your country and let them participate in your decision of independence or remaining associated with a colonizer. Yeah. Okay, we do have another caller. Let me go to that caller. He's been hanging on for a while. And feel free to call back after this caller. All right? Thank you. And we go to the next caller. Aloha, caller. Welcome to the program.
Hey, aloha.
Hey, aloha.
Good morning, brother.
Good morning. Welcome to the program.
I want to say amen to your last comments about sovereignty.
Okay.
The thing about it is, uh, um, when it boils down to the nitty-gritty, yeah, and they finally going to say, okay, we surrender. When I say we, I'm talking about the opposition, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we admit we were wrong. Well, let's do it democratically.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll end up with a Rice versus Caetano.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay.
And we don't have the numbers. Yeah? We'll agree because everybody's going to say, yeah, we got to do it the Pono way. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
The Pono way. It only can be done, as you say, the people who are either of blood or have declared, even people with blood that don't leave her anymore.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reasons, yeah?
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
You have to have an allegiance to your country. Why do people like me and many others spent sabbaticals locked up in prisons?
Mm-hmm.
Just because we want to be a Hawaiian? No. Or do we want to object to taxation? No. It's because we are of the Aina. We have that in us, even though some of us may not have the blood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One short comment on your equality thing, yeah? Previously, yeah?
Yes.
Does sovereignty differ between the sexes? The equality one would have in a sovereign nation, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's because the women of yesteryears, of course, the women did not have a vote. Yeah?
Yes.
And a lot of these men are scared of women because their mothers used to lick their fathers. That's all I got to say, brother.
Okay, thank you for your call.
Aloha.
Take care. Aloha. So, fear of women as a result of experience. And there are societies, and in fact, many societies in which you have had very strong women, and as a result, as this caller said, created fears in children to see the mothers licking the fathers. I guess that's a legitimate basis. It's not because they were women, but because of the experience of seeing this happen. Of course, you can also see fathers beating up mothers, and it's not a comedic thing to make out of home violence. And I don't mean to put it that way, but there has been experiences that go in both directions. Anyway, the topic is not that. The topic is the idea of who is a self in the exercise of self-determination. Whose determination is it? Is it the invaders, the occupiers, anyone who has transmigrated to these lands to participate in that decision? Or should it be the people who have been deprived of their right of self-determination initially, and the consequences of those who may have subsequently arrived in Hawaii but are swallowed up in that deprivation? So it's a ticklish question, and it's important that we do this kind of exploration. Let's go to our next caller. Aloha caller, welcome to the program.
Yeah, Poco, what did you mean by those who have recently arrived here but who have been swallowed up in that deprivation?
Take, for example, a family who have been in Hawaii for 4 generations or 3 generations, but not before 1893. Let's say they came in 1915, and they have become part of the local culture. They have, in fact, participated in, for example, learning the Hawaiian language, teaching our children Hawaiian, becoming a warrior alongside with us, supportive of us. Now, if we are saying only those who had been citizens of the Hawaiian nation prior to 1893 as appropriate participants, then we would be cutting out so many people who say, I've been here not that long, but I've been here enough to be willing to assert my loyalty, my allegiance to the Hawaiian nation and not to any other nation, and I want to be a participant. Those are people who have been sort of swallowed up in the denial of being a Hawaiian citizen by the American occupation. Because had they come to Hawaii at that time and had this been a Hawaiian nation, they are asserting that they would have become a Hawaiian citizen. So that's what I mean by that statement.
Oh, that's it. So, I think that all who have Coco,
Mm-hmm.
he can participate. It's
Okay.
a lot of the
Okay.
Hawaiian state.
As a first line, yeah. So anyone with blood
Yeah.
can participate. All right.
Yeah. Right. Because that's the heart of the state.
Yeah.
For them, the state was created. And so I think that should be, I don't know if it's rooted in, formally in law,
Mm-hmm.
but it would seem so appropriate.
Yeah, I think you can make a fair argument as well that should the Americans not have overthrown the Hawaiian state or the Hawaiian nation state, these native Hawaiians would have some place to come back to. And it is only natural because it is their homeland. Even though they left Hawaii, even during that period of Hawaiian nationhood, they left Hawaii, the door would have always been open. So I would agree with you that they have the right to return and participate.
Yeah, I've heard from folks, Moana Beamer, when they go and travel.
Yeah, you have to speak louder, please.
Yeah, I've heard from people like Moana and Keola Beamer who travel and perform in front of large groups of our people who have gone elsewhere, especially in the U.S., and they see the longing to return. They hear it, they see it, they feel it. They know so many of these people, but for very pressing circumstances, personally, probably economically, that's why they're not here. Yeah?
Right, right.
And of course, the occupation itself has so altered the landscape here socially, anthropologically, and
economically.
And so, but some of them will return. There's a saying, Poka, maybe you've heard it, that which is high. It's a prophecy from the prophet Heva, who foretold the rise of the kingdom, right? Kamehameha's rise, and then the fall of the kingdom, the decimation of the population. And he also said this, he said, that which is high will be brought low. That which is low will be raised. The walls will stand firm, and the islands will unite. Interesting, huh?
Yeah. I think it's from the chant Ke'aulu Moku about the heavens coming down to the earth and the earth rising.
Poka, when you read the comments of visitors to Hawaiian Hall who hear and see the exhibits, wow, it's so inspiring. I can remember reading one from, I think, Norway. He wrote, Hawaiians, take up the spirit of your fathers. Wow. Huh?
Yeah.
He was so inspired by what he saw and heard and learned. Yeah, that was his message to us. Yeah. Take up the spirit of your fathers. And we see that they wanted to be free. I mean, really free.
Yeah.
Not the American definition of it.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Americans think they own the definition of freedom.
Very curious, yeah. Okay, let me go to our next call.
Okay, Poga.
Okay, thanks for calling again. Take care. And we go to our next caller, Aloha caller. Welcome to the program.
I remember the discussion from last week.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
And you asked that we take it up in the second hour of the program.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Because I don't get up that early. But, the nation, within the nation would not work because it would be too complicated. A nation within a nation, Hawaiians would still be subject to what? Federal taxes, federal laws. Would they? The main thing I brought up, would they have their own passports? I think sovereignty has to be positive. It has to be total separation from the United States, like these island countries or other countries that's separated from Great Britain. So it has to be total. It cannot be half half-ass.
I knew you wanted to say that.
No, I think that's the point I had to make. So, total sovereignty, your own government, your own, most important, your own passport to get around the world. Without a passport, you generally cannot move. And so I think that's what I was bringing up.
Yeah.
You don't pay taxes. You give up your Social Security because you did. If you're you're detaching yourself from the United States of America. You're your own country.
Yeah.
You develop your own armed forces if you want one. Some countries don't have armed forces. I think Costa Rica doesn't. So.
Yeah. Samoa also does not.
Yeah, sure. Well, Western Samoa doesn't. I think they like to sleep a lot. They don't want to.
Now, let's not go into that.
I've been there and they sleep all day. So, okay, that's what I wanted to bring. It's either sovereignty. Forget about nation within the nation because you would still be subject to the laws of the United States of America. Okay?
Okay, thank you very much for your call. Aloha. And let me sum up at least my position. And in the Hawaiian discussion, we've talked about what should we do. Should it be a nation within a nation or should it be Hawaiian independence? And my position on that issue is that the conjunction, should it be this or that, is not the right conjunction. It really should be the conjunction and rather than or. And in that way, as long as we continue to be occupied, oppressed, colonized by the United States of America, we should protect what valuable rights we continue to have. And so I would say for that reason, we can continue under position or status of nation within a nation to protect the Hawaiian Homestead Program, to protect Kamehameha Schools, to protect the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, to protect those other benefits. Although we may argue what little it is or whatever the benefits are, to protect those benefits rather than sacrificing those benefits until we are given the right to exercise our full independence. Now, I know some people say, well, why should we wait until we are given those rights? And that we can debate at some other time. But for that reason, and only for that reason, I say I would support an integrationist approach if the conjunction is changed to an and, which means that we can also support at the very same time the movement toward and the achievement for our absolute independence. And so in this way, the transition would be a more gradual, a more appropriate transition from one position to the other position. Okay, enough said. I need to run out of this studio. I want to thank all of you for joining me in this program this day, and for those who joined me Saturday, thank you very much. I will be back next week to continue with our discussions of such things as Hawaiian sovereignty and many other issues before us. Aloha Hawaii, ahui ho.
Kaulana nā pua o Hawaii, Kupa'a mahope o ka aina, Iki mai ka elele o ka loko ino, Pala pala anunu me ka paka. Pane mai Hawaii moku o ke ave, Koku ana honoa o Pi'ilani, Ka ko'o mai kaua I o mano, Pa'aku me ke one o ka kuhi hewa. Aolea e kau I ka pulima, Maluna o ka pepa o ka enemi, Ho'ohui ai nā ku ai hewa, I ka pono sivila a o ke kanā.